Okay, so it was time to bleed my brakes. Yeah, they're getting a bit spongy. So basically, you unscrew the little sealing bolt in there, stick in your syringe, unscrew the sealing bolt in the bottom of your caliper, and screw in the fitting there. This kit I've got only fits the bottom caliper. The top one on the surron brake is tiny. That's why I've not got anything screwed into it. As you can see, the difference there. So just jam the syringe in the top, fill it up with fresh fluid, which is this Shimano fluid I went for. Now what I done was put a full syringe on. Down at the bottom, I sucked a full syringe through to get rid of all the old fluid in there. So it's putting fresh fluid in just to make sure there's absolutely no bubbles in the system. And then I emptied out that syringe and filled up a new one. Now for mine, I've got the thin Shimano pads on there, and I wanted to bleed the system to suit the worn pads. When you've got new pads, you wouldn't have to do that. You can just get a proper spacer that fits in, and you take the actual pads out there. But I want the nice reaction straight away on my brakes without having to pull them in before it actually hits the disc. So that's what you do, and then you elevate this here, because when you're pulling it through, you want the bubbles to stay up. So when you're pulling it through, the bubbles any in the system will elevate into the syringe itself, and then you make sure you do not push it all the way back through. So yeah, you suck up on the syringe. Tricky with one hand, but you don't want to suck it all the way through on the second one, because you don't want any air sucked into the system. So you stop it about 5 mil out there, and then I'm going to remove the top one, get a rag there to stop the extra fluid falling out, put the thumb over the top so it creates a vacuum, and then take it out, put your top bolt back on to seal it, and then then do the bottom one, because once that top's sealed, you shouldn't get any fluid wanting to leak past. And then when you're finished, put everything back on, undo the top bolt again, put this back on, put some fluid in it, give your brake a few squeezes. I think it's about 30 is recommended. Then that'll just make sure that any bubbles come up and into the syringe. Take your syringe out and put your sealing bolt back on. So you've pulled the fresh fluid through, you've removed everything, you put the brake caliper back on, and you put back in your top syringe, and then you just give it some squeezes. So any air, you can see the bubbles coming out there. It's in the system. Will slowly work its way out. And then once you've done that a few times, make sure it's nice and tight, so you don't get any air in the system. Do that for a minute or two, take it off, and you should be done.